Joining us on 710 KURV, we're talking about things that you can do to kind of manage yourself in the wake of the events that transpired this past weekend and beyond. I know there's a lot of heated discussion happening on the internet and things like that. Joining us on 710 KURV is Karen Howard, the author of Upset is Optional and the executive director of Organic and Natural Health Association. We're talking about election anxiety relief, how to stay calm and avoid being upset during these very rocky and volatile times here. So thank you for joining us this afternoon. And I know a lot of people are talking about the assassination attempt this past weekend of former President Donald Trump. And I know it has everybody feeling, as the younger kids say, some sort of way, and rightfully so, because the rhetoric has been ramped up higher and higher, and it gets even worse once you get on Twitter and social media. It gets so bad. So how do you manage everything as we venture forth into 2024?
It may seem a little insane to even think that upset can be optional in a situation like this. I mean, my response when I watched everything that was happening was just enormous sadness. And in the aftermath of all of this, it's just, as you say, it's gotten ramped up on social media, and it's painful for me to watch. Makes me even sadder. But there are things that you can do, and one of them is, like, every day when you wake up, put your feet on the floor and figure out how you want to be in the world. Do you want to be upset? Do you want to be... Remember that, like, with a little, put a rubber band around your wrist or put something on the steering wheel of your car. And with that comes some teachings on language. There are words that make us feel sick, that make us feel more upset, right? And we talk about our candidates as though they're not human beings, either one of them. And so when you use words like moron or decrepit, pick the host of them. Don't. Pick your own word wall. And if you have to make up funny words for it, do that. But the reality is that everyone's so in the moment right now. I think the most important thing I can share with you is just be a listener and observer and stay calm and breathe in your own body.
There is a lot going on social media, and honestly, it makes my heart hurt reading all the really dumb and uninformed comments that people make online. It's to the point where I'm just bogged down by all of it. Let me, if I may, allow me to tell you what was trending on Twitter this past weekend. Right after the event happened, they missed. How do you miss one job? These are people that are just trying to get clout. They're trying to be edgy, and they're just trying to. It is the most crass and disgusting thing that these people can do on the internet, and it just, I don't know, it kind of destroys your faith in humanity when you see stuff like that. I don't know. How do you feel when you read these things online?
I mean, I had my own personal experience today when someone was saying that there was a woman who wasn't protecting. He was totally protected. The former president was totally protected. So why are you targeting that? So I totally understand the amount of upset that can come around on all this. All I can say is reframe. Words are like drugs. Don't use the word yourself. Check out of it. Check out of social media if you have to. Check off, any of your television news that you watch, and just come back to being yourself and understand that there is something much larger at stake here. We are one moment in time. There are 3 generations that have come before us who have served us well or served us badly, but they are our history. And there are 3 more that we don't know anything about. And we owe it to them to be the best that we can be in this spot. And so if you take on a responsibility like that personally, and you can actually look at the people who are confronting you personally, social media, that's your choice. Stay in, stay out. But I mean, to be able to understand that this is something much bigger than just that moment in time. We've lived through some bad times in our history. All students of history know that. So I just encourage people to step back, step in themselves and really pay attention to how your body feels, because people can die from stress. It is not an insignificant thing, and people have asthma attacks because of stress. So you have to do some self-care through this process.
Joining us on 710 KURV is Karen Howard, the author of Upset is Optional. And we're discussing ways that you can stay calm and avoid anxiety through these very troubled and turbulent times leading into 2024. I know a lot of the negative campaigning has been put to the side in the wake of this. Davis Rankin, I'll let you chime in on this. What is your question for Karen Howard?
Do you have any sense? Is American culture, is America declining in quality, or in? Have we always been this ugly to each other, except we didn't have Twitter?
No, that does help, doesn't it? I mean, I think there are instances in our political past that point to rank but, there was so much distance, time and space that, today everything is so deeply accelerated by that. I honestly have to check out of social media myself. So, and I'm pretty practiced at this stuff. And I think that, especially as we head into the holiday season, this is going to get worse. So
what are some more strategies from your book, Upset is Optional, that you could employ for the current political climate that we've got right now?
So one thing that you can do is when you're in a situation where someone is on the opposite side of you or you're just in disagreement is really stop and be an observer. A little out-of-body experience perhaps, but you can actually listen to them and not take it in and not own it and just listen. And that's where people, I think, part of what we're seeing is that they don't feel heard. And if we can pull, we've been at this for over 8 years now. So it's better in some ways in that families couldn't even sit at the table at Thanksgiving. So if you can actually be that listener and not comment and just take it in, that is a really good skill to have in a workplace or in a home environment where things just aren't going to ever be agreeable. And I think that having your own set of ways to offset it, like reframing these things, like sometimes I'll get up in the morning and I'll just be like, oh, it must be snowing today because things have just gone to hell. It's like that kind of, changing it up and not having that same recording in your head is it's reframing, using different language, not getting engaged and establishing a guideline for yourself about how you want to be in your body. And when you start to move away from that and you aren't breathing, you just got to take a break. You just sit back and you got to go, I'm going to breathe and I'm not going to say a word. And it sounds really small, but it's really impactful.
Karen Howard is the author of Upset is Optional, joining us on 710 KURV. So say you're stuck with family members at Thanksgiving dinner, or you're stuck at work with all your coworkers and things get political very quickly. Like in the workplace, you can just go to HR and be like, hey, do you think that we can say something about political speech in the workplace? It's really starting to get in the way. But with family, you're kind of trapped. What's your advice?
You're totally trapped. Yes, and I've been sort of in that situation. I grew up in the Midwest, so I totally understand. I'm now on the East Coast, and I've reverted to things like that's really interesting, and I really do become an observer. Like I know what I'm up against, so I can just choose to not react. So that is probably the most important thing people can do. It's like there will be times when you'll be able to have a really genuine conversation about a disagreement, whether it's policy, personality, or whatever. And this happens in life all day long. We do this all day long. We communicate well. But when it comes to politics and you start taking it in, you're making it personal, you can't take it personally anymore. Just know that if you utter a viewpoint, somebody's going to be able to disagree with you and accept that. Because the person on the other side of this equation may not feel that way. And then if it gets so bad, just find a way to politely, remove yourself. But the goal is to always be in your own body, to use words that you want to use and not to fall victim to the back and forth.
Where can we find the book at, Karen?
UpsetIsOptional.com. It's available on Amazon. I hope everybody has a chance to use it for less complicated reasons, but this is a good one.
Thanks a lot for your time today.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. That's Karen Howard, author of Upset is Optional, Executive Director, Organic and Natural Health.